So, good evenings, my thrillers and chillers who are with me this evening. As promised, I'm back again with yet another story. I'm trying to keep it in sequence as I do in my mind, whatever I remember in sequence. I'll go straight to the story, and that is that when my mother passed away, that was in the month of March in 2003. And I had come down to Calcutta, but I didn't get very much leave to come and finish more than I could do. I had to report back to my job very fast, and I was very disturbed. You had a loss in the family, your mother on top of that, and you just have to jump back into life like nothing really happened because you're a customer facing person. And I was always in a kind of what should I say, in a weird place. There was not enough time to grieve, so I was stuck somewhere in between those emotions. Now my daughter at that time, she was naughty. She was small. She was quite small, and she was naughty. She would not go to sleep. She would not, like children are, too much sugar and jumping till midnight. So I was trying to put her to sleep, and it was a weekend. Funnily, the weekends were like Thursdays and Fridays when I first went. Like your weekend started on a Wednesday evening. It was the weirdest weekend that I had ever thought one could have, especially being from Calcutta and having Saturday, Sunday as the weekend. So people used to start partying from Wednesday evening because Thursday, and then there's the Jummah day, which is Friday. Over time, they changed that. So I think my husband had an office engagement and he had to step out. It could have been a Wednesday or a Thursday evening, I don't remember. And I was with my daughter, and she wouldn't sleep. And every time I put her to bed and came back to just sit and watch a movie to keep myself entertained, I would find her sneaking and looking at me and trying to. I said, again you're out of bed. So I got very tired, putting her into bed a couple of times. And near my bed, on my side of the bed, was a picture of my mother. And I used to always put beautiful flowers over there. I used to buy fresh lilies and carnations because carnations was her favorite flower. So that was there, and there was a little lamp on the side of the bed. So on one of those occasions, I went and put her back into bed. I said, no, it's past your bedtime, and you just have to form the habit of going to sleep early. And I came back and continued trying to watch the movie that I was watching. And then suddenly I realized that she's not coming anymore. So I got up and I tiptoed towards my bedroom. There was a corridor between the drawing room and the bedroom that I was going to. And the minute you enter that corridor, one gets to see my mother's picture. And we were living on the 7th floor of this building. In front of us was literally the sea. The road was far below. There was no building in front of us because it was the road and then the port, okay? And as I'm going close to it, I was walking, and suddenly I see this blue light, a little round blue light just flash across the room, as if it just exited us the minute I was appearing. And if I was walking, I was running after that to see what is this blue light. And there was nothing that could be reflecting in my room because the curtains are drawn. I mean, it's a country where most people keep their curtains shut in the evenings, even in the day because it's so bright. But it's a place for where everyone keeps everything shut. So it's not like, as I told you, any reflection from the sky or the ground or anything in between. It was just a blue light that just went push like this. And I ran in to see, and it went from my mother's picture. So I ran in to see what this is. And there was nothing in the room. And I had no idea about this blue light or any light or what it could be. Till years later, I was reading something. I've done a lot of reading on these things because frankly it interests me. Okay, but that's another side of me. I did some reading and I realized it's called an orb. ORB. I now forget what it fully means, the ORB, but it is supposed to be that in each of us there is a light. And even when we pass on, that light does not, it's an energy, does not go away. And what I had seen that day was that, and that little light, blue light I'd seen was that energy. But that I got to know years later. When I just happened to be reading something and they said there's this thing called an orb, you can see it passing through the room. There were other pictures showing this thing floating by. Then I connected to what I had seen years ago, and my daughter was fast asleep. Could be my mother was seeing that, I was so harassed. After all, a mother is a mother. And she possibly could see that no matter what, losing her, going back, my every day had to go on the same way, get up, go to work, come back. We had split sessions in those days. You come back in the afternoon, again go back in the evening, do all the work that you had to do, handle your children, everything. But inside there was something had gone. There was a big gap. And that evening I was alone and I thought I'd just relax, watch a movie to get my mind off it. And here was my child not listening to me. And I think she helped me, over there. She must have watched how many times I got up and tried to put her to sleep, because I only believed this after seeing that blue light, that she was there. She loved her grandchild. It's unfortunate that she didn't get enough time with her, because my daughter was born and within 16 months we left the country. Today she's a 26-year-old lady settled elsewhere, and so my mother didn't get much of her. So I think there was the protection of her over my daughter and us, and everything doesn't have to be scary, but to understand that there is a dimension that we are not aware of, but to some of us we get a glimpse of it, and we always second guess ourselves. Like another time it happened soon after my mother's passing away, and I put up that picture, and I also put flowers, and I knew she loved carnations, or I would always buy these lilies which would bloom, and there would be a lovely scent around that place. Now that day, it was the afternoon, it was a day off, I think. Obviously it was a day off because I'm talking about the afternoon, and there was this I went to the market that morning and I didn't find any lilies, I didn't find any carnations, and I didn't want to buy roses because, and heads of roses drop very easily, they're quite fragile. You must know how to clip them and keep them standing straight and beautiful for a long time. There was no problem with carnations and lilies. So I thought, What do I take now? So there were these lovely purple flowers, and but they were like dry. We find them here. They were very pretty. They were dry flowers, but no fragrance. No fragrance. Okay. So I said, okay, it's a pretty colored flower. Let me bring it and put this today. And I brought it to my room. I changed the water, put the flower in, and said, today this is for you. And then in the afternoon, I had lunch and took my baby. And I had a maid, Abida. She also had lunch and she was sleeping in the other room. And I was in my room, but I was really fretting that I hadn't got her a fragrant flower, a flower that gives out fragrance. It was in my mind. And I was sleeping, I would sleep on that side where my mother's photo was. So I was sleeping with my baby, and I know it's a semi-conscious, subconscious thing, but I could smell the flowers. I mean, it just, the whole room was smelling of flowers. The whole room. And in my half-conscious state, I'm thinking to myself that where is the smell coming from? I should ask Abida when I get up, did she spray the house, or because you get all these floral sprays. And but it was just full of it. And I was right next to that picture and the vase which had the flower. And then at 4:30 when she brought me tea, I asked Abida, did you spray the house? See, it was in my mind even when I woke up. It was the first thing I remembered. And I asked her, did you spray the house with anything? And she said, no, madam, I have not sprayed the house. It could have been many things. It could have been my subconscious mind. It could have also been my mother visiting me when I was sleeping. And that's the way I look at it. It's not always that we see through. I have seen things with my eyes, like the first story I told you, but it's not always that they communicate with us by standing up and waving at you, or talking to you. They don't talk that way, but or just standing in front of you. They could come to you through something moving or something, like the smell of the flowers. She knew that I was upset because I hadn't got her floral flowers, so she filled my room with the smell of flowers, and that was her presence there. And that's what I left it to, that. And it's never happened before that, and it's never happened after that. Never. It was that one time that it happened. Anyway, that's the second one I told you for today about my mom. And the third one is one day I was driving back from work. Now, if there's a presence close to you, as I said, you don't always see it. But if you're in there, if they're near you, somewhere you're in their aura or in their realm, and you can feel that there's something there which is giving you the heebie-jeebies, but you can't see anything. And it's who says that they only show up at night, or they only let you know of their being at night. This is like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or that flower story was in the middle of the afternoon. So I was driving home from work because in the Middle East in those days, they used to have work in 2 shifts, 7 o'clock to 1 and then 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock. So since I was living close to my office, I could come home and have lunch, rest a little bit, and then go back. So I was doing that, and one afternoon when I was sitting and driving home, I felt like there was somebody in the next chair next to me, in the next seat. I can't tell you, that ride was very heavy for me. I'm feeling this thing inside